Hello and welcome to Unity of Las Vegas. My name is Jim Lee, and I'm so glad that you're joining us for this special Good Friday service. It's Good Friday. This is the day of the crucifixion of Jesus the Christ, and some people say, hey, why do you want to call it good? Wasn't there anything good about this? Matter of fact, it seems like it was a bad day for Jesus. Well, some people look at it as good because Jesus the Christ, they were taught, died for sins. And it seems as though this is an opportunity to bring salvation for all of us, and so it's good. And then some people are looking at it, blood sacrifice, killing of an innocent being to compensate for other people's sins. Is that the best God can do? Well, we want to take a look at it from a different point of view on this Good Friday. It really is good, and especially when we're coming at it from a different point of view. John Macquarie, who was a former professor of systematic theology at Oxford in England, had this quote that sets us up. And he says this: we can first of all clear the ground by setting to one side some theologies of atonement which are very questionable. I mean theologies which represent God as angry and offended, or as a punishing God intent on exacting the penalty for sin through the death of his Son. Well, today let's experience it a little different, from a different lens, different point of view, and with fresh eyes. And Lisa will be taking us through this today, and we're going to take a look at a new way of being with this interesting day, and we call it the crucifixion, or the death and transmission of something wonderful from one state of being to another. Now, theologically, the crucifixion sets up a very deep transformational process. It is the crucifixion, it's the resurrection that all leads to an ascension. And I want to go back to something that Jesus taught, and it was called metanoia, or going into the larger mind. And it was called a radical shift. He always taught a radical shift in consciousness from an old way of thinking, which was steeped in separation, to a new way of thinking, which was the unified field, to be in contact with that, or the kingdom of heaven. The only way you're going to get there is through the heart. So this large lens that Jesus was teaching us deals with, I would say, grief and loss from a unique point of view. I'm so ready for this. And this message today is more than about death. It's really about love prevailing. In fact, Lisa's talk title is this: Love Persevering. So before we get into that, just we're setting it up with Randy with a great daily word, music by John Jones. Lisa will be doing the talk and the meditation and bringing it together. This is Good Friday. It's all about not the death of Jesus. It's more about love persevering.
Hello, everyone. My name is Randy, and this is the special reading for Good Friday. The thought for today is contemplate. Today's affirmation is, I contemplate my journey of faith on Good Friday. I remember times in my life when my faith was tested, particularly at those times I faced a seemingly hopeless situation or a painful ending. Today, I focus my thoughts on Jesus' final hours. I searched beyond the pain and fear he surely felt and imagined the faith that sustained him until the end. As I contemplate Jesus' suffering and his eventual acceptance at the end of his life, I am reminded of the times when my faith may have waned before it led me to a place of acceptance. Just as Jesus overcame the cross, I too have overcome my darkest moments and toughest trials. I contemplate this overcoming and give thanks the faith Jesus demonstrated lives in me, period. Today's scripture is taken from John chapter 16, verse 33. I have said this to you, so that in me you may have peace. In the world you face persecution, but take courage. I have conquered the world. Have a great day.
Thank you, Randy. There's such power in your message this evening. It takes a great amount of courage to contemplate Jesus' acceptance of what was to occur. And your message is perfect for this Good Friday. Well, good evening, friends. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we see the divine consciousness of Christ in each of you. And we're holding you all very close in our hearts. Join us after the service this evening in our fellowship Zoom room. We look forward to seeing you there. I've written a song for this service with lyrics composed by our very own Lisa Lee. Her colorful descriptions of our messages and themes for our programs are incredibly inspiring and make it easy to tap into the channel of source frequency and allow the music to simply flow. I hope you enjoy this piece called Love Just Persevering. What if there could be another way to look at grief of loss and pain? What if you could find a better way to make the emptiness feel whole again? The world might seem so very, very cold when it seems as if there's nothing left for you to hold. But what if we could find another way to shine a light to make you bold? How would it look if grief came with no cost of consequence, demise, or fear of loss, but rather it's just love that's living on? Oh, would not that be so endearing? And if you see it's never yours to lose, and the tightness of your grip won't sustain it, not something absolute we must escape, but just love persevering. It's just love, just persevering. For with this new way forward, the grief we so despair looks less like the stagnation and more like the repair. So allow this love in its different way to steer you through what feels like pain. For now you manifest a way to make emptiness feel whole again. The world doesn't seem so very cold. This love abounds for you to hold. This persevering love unfolds to shine its light and make you bold. How would it look if grief came with no cost of consequence, demise, or fear of loss? But rather it's just love that's living on. Oh, would not that be so endearing? And if you see it's never yours to lose, and the tightness of your grip won't keep it, not something absolute we must escape, but just love persevering, just love, just persevering, just love, just persevering, just love, persevering.
Good Friday draws us directly into our tenderest heartbreak, where we relive undeniably the most painful part of Jesus' life story. And whether it's a window that slowly closes or a forest you can't find your way out of, grief is almost always portrayed as an experience that one must escape. This is particularly true in our current times amidst so much loss due to the pandemic. So the message today is inspired by a quote from a recent Marvel series entitled WandaVision. The character Vision said in his final farewell to his great love, "But what is grief, if not love persevering?" We may have in our minds that the pain of loss is one-dimensional, and that the only possible positive outcome would be somehow magically to go back in time and rewrite the entire script. But what if this pain we're experiencing, however intense, is only one small part of the picture? This quote by Vision invites us to take an entirely different path. It invites us to make a sharp right where we would normally have taken a left. What if grief is not a consequence of loss, but rather our love living on or our love persevering? So the real question to ask, wherever there is great loss, is what is love doing in this situation? In 1992, my oldest daughter, Crystal, was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor. From the outside, the series of events looked very bleak. We spent the better part of the next 2 years in and out of the hospital, and she finally passed away in 1994. Yes, this was deeply painful, but that was not all that was happening. During the time she was in a coma, what I originally thought were dreams were experiences of deep spirit-to-spirit connection with her. Sometimes we were holding hands together, looking down at her in her bed. And other times, I was the one in the bed, experiencing firsthand all the tubes running down her throat. These experiences were deeply intimate, vividly powerful, and transforming. I felt like my DNA was being rewritten. And while she was making her transition for several days, I was inside of her elation, her freedom, and her bliss on the other side. And I remember the mailman coming to the door, seeing all the sympathy cards and expressing his condolences. I graciously accepted, but in my heart, I was the one feeling compassion for him, because I knew he could only see one small part of what was happening. And there was so much more. The love my daughter and I share was persevering profoundly beyond the dissolving of her physical form. I became convinced that whatever form we took, and wherever we are in the universe, and whenever we were in the universe, we would always be together. In my humanness, there isn't a day that I don't prefer she still be here in her familiar physical body. But in my largeness of self, I am so very grateful for having such a vivid example of how powerful and expanded love is. It transformed what I thought was possible for human relationships. And it connected me beyond the veil in a way that has deeply informed my entire life's work. But mostly, it created in me a new kind of wholeness, a robust wholeness, one that included my humanness, but also connected the dots for me across the dimensions. Grief was not something to be escaped, but something to be held tenderly inside of this larger question. What is love doing in this situation? So for our meditation today, we will journey down this different path and live into this persevering quality of love. So I invite you to find a comfortable way of sitting and just begin to focus on your breath, taking very gentle breaths in and out. And become aware of the beautiful, gentle rhythm of the breath. And now imagine yourself actually breathing in and out of your heart. And just notice as you're doing this that the beautiful heart energy begins to fill your entire being. There's a new expanded warmth and light in your physical body, in your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, and in your spirit. So I invite you now to find a place in your heart where there is the pain of loss. It could be the loss of a loved one or a major sudden shift in life circumstances. Find this place and allow it to be embraced inside of this warm heart energy. Shift your focus from the pain for just a moment and just sense into the intensity that's there. And see how this very place, where there appears to be a lack of love, is instead a powerful calling in of love. Sense this intense energy as an allurement. Sense into love as a vibrant aliveness, what Cynthia Bourgeault refers to as thou, a living wisdom, a deep compassion, and an infilling resource of healing and rebalancing. Sense this intensity of love meeting and exceeding the intensity of loss. You are basking in love's light, being soothed by love's wisdom. There is a deep sense of purposefulness here, bringing peace to your heart. Nothing is random in love's universe. Inside of love's embrace, notice how safe it is to release any attachment to form, to the way you think things should be or look. Gently surrender and let go. Rumi says, lose yourself completely. Return to the root of your own soul. Rest in the depths of this love and receive a renewing of all forms of perception. Love is persevering in and through you, gifting you with a whole new way of seeing your world. Take another deep breath and sense into the possibility of something miraculous, something magical. For this is the way it really is.
Yes, thank you, Lisa, for a great meditation. Love persevering for all of us. Well, I just want you to know you have a special invitation to attend our Good Friday Fellowship, and it will be at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. So you're certainly welcome to join us. And if you're standing in need of prayer, please call Silent Unity 24/7. Someone will be there to support you with any of your prayer needs. And you can support this ministry with your tithes or offering by going to the website and clicking on the donate button or texting us by phone. Thank you for all that you have been doing and that you are doing now and that you'll do in the future. So as we wrap up this wonderful Good Friday inspiration, I just want us to take our prayer for protection with us in our minds and our hearts, and let's say it for the entire world. And as it comes up on the screen, let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is there, and all is well. God bless you.
And the tightness of your grip won't keep it. Not something absolute we must escape, but just love persevering. Just love, just persevering. Just love, just persevering. Just love.